Alex, I saw you nodding when I said those nasty billionaires. I know I can get you to agree with that. Carlos, I'll start with you. My suggestion for you and all your business efforts, $599. Get to $599 billion and then stop. Does that make sense to you?
No, I love that as a safe point, at least as a starting point, and then we'll have a beautiful 18-month run after that. Look, I think that part of the regulation move is coming. You and I both know, not only based on economic concerns, but certainly what happened in and around the election, what happened in and around January 6th, as well as some of the criticisms about social media's maybe more addictive nature, particularly with young people and others. So I think all of those things are coming into play, and we're talking about it a little bit like we talked about Microsoft in the late 90s, but I really think we have kind of a different animal here, and it makes it kind of, I heard you and Andrew talking about it earlier, Becky talking about it as well. It's tough. It's not a black and white. You appreciate the innovation, you appreciate all the good services, but you also know that they're having massive societal impact. Not all of it good, not all of it clear, and not just business, but societal impact as well.
Alex, reading a lot of your notes, I think, don't you think if we're going to go the European route for antitrust, shouldn't we just admit it that it's not consumers or customers that we're worried about? We're worried about new entrants. We're worried about competitors. We're worried about job losses when big companies put other less agile competitors out of business. Let's just admit it if that's what we're going to head for. Because in the past, it's been, we protect consumers and customers. It's kind of a different mindset than what you see over in Europe.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't think we should or we will go the European route. I think whatever we end up passing is going to be much more narrow than that, even though we have the White House today saying that they're on board with this whole plan. At the end of the day, I don't think we get here if it isn't for the small and medium-sized businesses that say that big tech has been using its market power to squeeze them out. And at the end of the day, the lifeblood of the economy is going to be those small and mid-sized businesses. So I think you're right. I think we're seeing an expansion of what antitrust means in this country. And that's what this debate is going to be about today. Do we want to keep it narrow like we had in the 1890s, or do we want to move it into something a little bit more broad? And that's what these bills represent.
Alex, just being completely honest with what we're talking about, how much of the income inequality debate and the way that the haves versus the have-nots benefited during the pandemic, and especially a lot of billionaires. We've seen that number. We've seen they've added it up, the net worth of the top 100 people and how it increased during the pandemic. How much of that is factoring into sort of just the overall feelings toward these companies?
I think it's a huge part. It's a huge part of it. I think that's part of why you're seeing the Democrats put it forward. It's been part of their platform. They're looking at this stuff, and I know we can have a debate about whether that should factor into the antitrust stuff or not. So, but I think it's a big part, and I think it's going to be a big public policy thing. And last thing I'll say is, I'm not in favor of keeping Jeff Bezos in space. I know you brought it up before, but we'll let him come back.
Yeah, right. We saw when Matt Damon got stuck up there, without food. He was like using his poop to make potatoes. We're not telling Bezos he needs to. You can't stay up there. He's got to come back. Carlos, you mentioned January 6th. You mentioned some, which I don't know how you tie that into it, but I do know how you tie it into it, because what I was just alluding to, a lot of this, is it envy about what the haves or the billionaires have? Because a lot of shareholders are in pension plans or 401ks, and there's a lot of people that have benefited by, the increase in Amazon's price, the increase in Facebook. It does get spread to more than just the founders.
Well, Joe, I don't think we would have had this if two things weren't true. One, if President Trump hadn't been banned from several of the social media platforms, at least suspended, I think that brought Republicans into the conversation. And two, I think you're right. I think the kind of pandemic growth of some of these tech companies, the tremendous growth, I think has brought about a certain level of concern. I think the real opportunity here is not for Congress to kind of do piecemeal 4, 5, 6 bills, but really maybe a real need. Even the tech companies might find some benefit in President Biden stepping forth and kind of laying out kind of a larger roadmap going forward. I think there could be benefit from that in the same way that you saw around welfare reform in the mid-90s, you saw around the balanced budget initiative. And so even though we're talking about the Congress today and the 16-month investigation they had into it, in a weird and unexpected way, this may be a moment where Google and Facebook, Amazon, others actually may want to see the White House play a bigger role than Congress.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.